I literally on a Thursday afternoon, I'm getting a little bit of a scratch in my throat. And by, I think it was Friday afternoon, my voice was completely gone. I mean, it's completely gone. I mean, literally, completely gone. So,
and it just,
just
out of nowhere,
just
right?
out of nowhere. I mean, it's just literally. I mean, I wasn't sick. I wasn't run down. This was before. I mean, it's just the oddest scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lose my voice, and I was scheduled to be on out of town with my wife for that particular weekend, so I wasn't teaching. I thought, well, by next weekend my voice will come back. It hadn't. I think I got into like the third week. It had not returned. During that time, George Floyd happens, and everyone's looking to the church for an answer, and Black Lives Matter protests are happening all over the country. Churches are posting the black square. It was a moment, right? It was certainly a very interesting moment. I historically, kind of again back to the sort of the DNA. Historically, am very, very, very slow to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Just jumping straight in doesn't ever seem wise to me. So historically, we're about a week after George Floyd, and I'm getting emails from people in the body like, "Hey, what's our big statement, and what are we gonna?" And I did have one particular fellow from the fellowship, a black brother who texted me, he's like, "Brother, where is your voice?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, quite literally, I did not have a voice. I mean, I did, there wasn't, I didn't, and I responded via text. Like, honestly, I don't have a voice. And we kind of we got back into this dialogue, which sort of began to head down well, surely you're going to end up you're going to make a statement. Mm-hmm. You're going to end up, we're going to
be on the right side.
Yeah, you're going to end up on the right side of the argument here. I mean, this is a moment. And I was pretty sure, based upon some of the things that I had been exposed to I listened to Vodi Bakum on social justice, ethnic Gnosticism, which I thought was just a brilliant gospel insight into these ideas. So I was pretty sure that my statement was not going to line up with his idea. But I wasn't going to, I'm not a social media person. I don't have a Twitter account. I don't have a Facebook account. It's just not my world. Mm-hmm. But so we have one at the church, and we could put some things out in that regard. But I wasn't gonna be sort of drug into what turned out to be kind of a yucky fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, my voice didn't return, and my voice didn't return, and my voice didn't return. Well, in that time period, and in hindsight, it is really, really significant to me, and I can't describe it to anything other than God, but I get the sense. In fact, in the middle of this, I went to a dear friend of mine, it's an ENT, mm-hmm. sat with my wife, ran a scope down my throat, and I watched my wife. They got a high def screen behind me. I don't know what they're looking at, but they're looking at my vocal cords, and he's having me do vocal exercises. And my wife puts her hand up, and my doctor friend looks at me, and he's like, "Your vocal cord's paralyzed. Your left vocal cord does not move."
It's so nuts. I
mean, it just paralyzed. And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Well, what do we do?" There's nothing we can do.
Did they have a diagnosis? Could they tell you where it came from?
Well, so they think that if you had chickenpox as a kid, that viral sort of capacity remains in your body, and later on, if you have a flare-up, it'll be a nerve type thing, and it can affect the nerve. That's why a lot of folks. I've had not fibromyalgia, but Bell's palsy before,
mm-hmm.
and or just half my face, just literally, just paralyzed. In fact, it might even have been the same side in hindsight, but nevertheless. So I'm looking at my doctor saying, steroid. I mean, I'll put you on a steroid. We'll see what's going on. Week, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks go by. Well, in that time, I went to school, and I think the Lord took me to school, and I began to read extensively, listen extensively to voices that were outside of my movement, outside of my wheelhouse, outside of my real, interest. But I think the Lord took me to school and just said, this is what's happening. This is what we're facing. This is what's going on in the culture. These are the terms that everyone is being bombarded with, but nobody really understands. So it's not something, you talk about critical theory, systemic racism, social justice, transgenderism, and all these issues that it was not something that we dealt with. All I can say is it seems to me as if the Lord said, I know your nature. You are a bit of a you want to get in the game. I'm a pastor. God made me a pastor. I care for the flock. I could see that we're all confused, right? All of us were confused. We're getting tossed to and fro. It looks like the church is getting diced up. Leading voices are maybe leading us in the wrong direction, perhaps. I mean, it was just really confusing, right? Not that things have gotten clear.
Yeah.
And I came out with a voice, both literally and I think figuratively, that would, some would look on and go, what happened to the church? What happened to Calvary? Calvary's gotten all political. You guys have gotten involved in these things, and that we've turned a corner, and we've had there's this emphasis now that never was. I mean, what's wrong? And so that was really what happened to me.
Yeah.
But in that silent period, I mean, brother, I went to school.
You can catch brand new episodes of Indie Thinker with Reed Huberman every Monday, and weekly bonus episodes to keep you thinking throughout the week. But you have to subscribe and click the bell to be notified when new episodes drop. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like this video and share it with friends.